Assalamu alaikum. Today we're going to talk about our new presentation for the current topics, and we're talking today about aesthetic dentistry. I want to compliment Dr. Abdullah your presentation in terms of the layout of the slides. The layout is very clear and easy to go through. And if I were going through the slides, you have the objectives, you have the topics, you have uniform formats as if what we talked about last time in terms of organizing the slides, organizing image areas, some small things to comment on, but generally the constant place of the references, the results, all of these were like very clear and easy to see, and the flow of it was very beautiful. Okay. Going more, you have done a beautiful work in the slide layout. It was very easy to follow. Going back out of the screen, going back to the beginning. Okay, so let me just work with the screen. So my comments are as follows. Okay. Our title of the topic is not aesthetic dentistry current topics. Our topic today is advancement in aesthetic dentistry, okay? So just because each of our slides is about the advancements. This is the subject that we're following throughout this course. So just add here that these are advancements in aesthetic dentistry, okay? The objectives are very clear. You have simply listed the titles or the outline of your presentation. It was well organized and up to the point. In terms of digital slide, I would prefer that, as you remembered, I told you to put a page number, because while I was writing the comments, I missed one, which I have to now search for the slide that had my comment on it. But if I had a number here, and this will also be the case for people attending your lectures, for example, they'll tell you in slide 5, I had so-and-so question, slide 6, or so on. So just add numbers, please, to your slides, okay? Digital smile design was well defined, advantages was well defined. The evolution, I loved this part where you had talked about the evolution steps, okay? The evolution slide was very excellent, but we needed the reference. You might have done the reference here. Yes, it is here. But when I seen this, I haven't seen the reference here, okay? I missed that this is a website. I thought it was a paper.
Yes. Yes, okay.
Okay, no, here you've written it as a paper. Here you've written it as a website. So is it a website or a paper?
No, it's a website دكتورة. الويب سايت هو كريستيان كوشمان هو اللي كاتب عليه بنفسه.
Okay.
فأنا بس يعني حاط إنه
Okay.
هو متى كتب يعني.
We've seen this format usually for papers, not for websites. Okay, you can write as follows: Christian Kochman, Evolution of Smile Dentistry 2017 and 2017, and then you place this link. Okay, so this will appear better. So you put the author here, the title of the article, okay, 2007. You can say the article was last accessed, or the blog was last accessed, or the video was last accessed, and so on. So you can identify what the format was. This was it a website? Was it a blog? Was it a Facebook?
A website دكتورة.
Yes,
It's a website.
yes. Okay, but the idea is that you might have it as a blog, you might have it as a Twitter. Sometimes you might have seen something beautiful and you want to add it and share it with your colleagues. So what is last accessed? You could say web page that was last accessed. If it was a blog, the blog was last accessed, okay? Or the YouTube channel was last accessed, and all of these. So this is better. So that author would be here. The title would be here, the year would be here, and then the identification of the website format or the media format that you have used. Okay. The evolution, just repeat the reference here as well after you added it. Okay. The photographs are very beautiful. And how do you get digital smile design? How do you capture? These are the capturing. These are for capture, these are for processing, and this is for outcome. So just add here, these are for capture, okay? Capture devices. Okay. Photographs were beautiful. I loved the way where you had a lot of details on the photographs. And these, by the way, these are the same photographs you should be putting in your presentations for your case presentations. If it was the final year evaluation or the clinical presentations, or if it was for a fellowship or so on. These are the views as well that we use them for our work with the presentation of cases and cases of board exams and so on, okay, or fellowship. So I wanted to complement this. So the software here, you added a list of softwares. Okay. Just a moment. I recommend when you add software, these are softwares, okay? These are, by the way, very important. So I would like you to put these separate in a slide on its own. You put the name of the software, for example. Then you put an image of the software or the device or the logo from the manufacturer, okay? So this will be easier for your eye to catch the system that you have used when you were studying. For example, you might have worked at a clinic that uses one of these softwares, okay? When your eye captures the logo of the software, you will know exactly what we're talking about, okay? So put them in dots and points and put the logo for the software opposite to it so we could see them. And for those who had some experience with them, they will be more able to compare with their experience, okay? Just a moment. Okay, so for the software, because this is a beautiful work for you that you have gathered all these names from this reference, and it will be very helpful for your colleagues to see each software and their logo from the company that sells them. Okay, okay. And after that, these are the parameters, okay? These are the lines, the aesthetic parameters intraoral. You have mentioned the zenith points and further contact location and so on. You have mentioned the zenith points. So the intraoral, I would say it should, the aesthetic parameters intraorally could be intraorally from a frontal view, intraorally from a retracted view, okay? So divide them by 2. Fine?
Yes.
Yeah. So the intraoral lines or reference lines or parameters or whatsoever, intraoral from a rested lip view and from a retracted lip view. Okay. So add those as well. So and add images for them, because you will have from the retracted view, you could get even better. You could get the amount of attached gingiva. You could get the zenith points. You could get the contact points. Okay, analysis. So multiple stuff that are present. You could get some analysis of the tooth itself, morphology of the tooth. So these are taken from a retracted view, not this view. Okay. So this is beautiful. Okay. And by the way, add if you find any online website that gives you these, because online now you might find, if you have an image, you could put it online, and there you will have some tools to give you all of these parameters. Okay, if you have a reference from an online available software that you can upload an image and work with that online website, please add it, okay? It will be very helpful for your colleagues. Okay, wax up and mock up. You talked about the digital and your traditional wax up. For the digital wax up, I want to ask you here in this paper specifically, I've seen this. This is as a wax up, okay? For example, it could be like this or it could be like this. Now, this is the regular handmade, correct?
Yes.
The images
Yes.
are not clear for me. This is the digitally designed mock-up.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the STL file of the WhatsApp. يعني هاي yes.
But this is digitally made, not manually, not a scan of a manual.
لا
This is
دكتورة
digital.
هذا فايل يعني yes it's a digital file. هذا لسه ما انطبع. لما انطبع
Yes.
صار يعني زي اللي تحت تقريبا.
Okay. So the idea is, this is confusing now. Okay. So this is the manual wax up.
Yes.
This is the digitally designed wax up. This is the printed
Yes.
from this one. Okay. While
Printed. Yes. Yes.
when you printed this is a lower jaw, not an upper. Here you have designed the upper, here you designed the printed
Yes.
the lower. So just match them together and try to divide them. Like put this upper and say this is the manual or traditional wax up and this is the digital, but also match the wax up with the image. Okay, this is lower. Okay, then you should add in that there is a next step or try to like a flow chart. So this is a digital, let's say this is the manual wax up and this is the digital wax up. It comes from a digital design software, then it's a printed. Then both of them, by the way, are taken with the impression material. صح? Both of them
Yes.
are transformed to, so it goes back to the same step intraorally, where you take an impression of the wax up and then you put it intraorally and begin using it for the mock-up. So this was missing for somebody who didn't know. He would think that what you printed digitally was the wax up just added on the surface of the teeth. Okay? They don't understand that there was a step where you take the impressions, these indices for mock-up. Okay, so you take the impression with a putty, the putty with a light body impression material, and then you cut them in a specific way to produce these indices. Okay?
هو دكتورة أنا يعني أوقات بحب المعلومة ممكن أوصلها بسلايد ثاني مش بنفس يعني
Yes,
يعني
in the same
فكرة
slide.
الاندسز
This is what I wanted to say. The idea here, if it was this slide, say this is manual and this is digital. The digital has two components, the software image, the printed image, or the printed model. But both of them go back for the index production by using impression material, okay?
Yes.
Just like a flow chart, okay? So going after that, just let me just exit this. Okay, so this is the, this was good. This was also good, but put back the reference, okay? Even if you were talking about the paper here, okay? You have to have it also here because this is also from the same source, okay?
Okay.
The video was beautiful, but please add here the name of the product and the company's website, okay? Other than the YouTube link, where is the company's website? For dental materials, usually we put an image of maybe the logo. If this was a software, we will put the logo of the software. If it was a material, we will put the box of the material, okay? So depending what the video is about. What's the video about? By the way, here you have the logo, but while you were running the video, this was not here, was not present, okay? So just put the name, the link to the company and the logo of the software because it's a software. If it was a material, you put the link for the company and an image of the box of the material or how this is displayed. Okay. So going to still we're in the software. When you talked about the smile lines, please add an image for the smile lines because we have a rested lip position, minimum smile or an unactivated smile, and then you have an excessive smile or activated smile. You know these views.
Yes.
Yes. So just show that you can take more than one smile in the images, okay? And state for this software what is the smile needed, okay? So do you do the highly activated or extensive smile to show the gum lines or not, okay? Or do you use an let's say a retracted view to show the gingival lines for the images, okay? Going then, okay, to laminate veneers, porcelain and laminate veneers. Okay, you talked about their definitions. Okay, and I love the way that you placed the definitions and how do you place them all in one place, showing the contrast between the definitions. Okay, so this is excellent. And now, once you talked about porcelain veneer, a layered porcelain that is bonded to a framework, here, do you think it's a powder system? Powder liquid system?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So just add here that this is specific for the powder liquid system. If it is, just recheck it.
هو يس هون حاول دكتورة أخلي يعني الديفينيشن زي الريفرنس يعني ما أغير عليه
Yes,
بس
it should
أوضح
be.
الموضوع بالكلام. Yes.
I mean, if I was talking porcelain laminate veneer, does it include pressed, for example, veneers, or is it powder liquid system? Or is this specific for powder liquid system? This is what my question was.
لا دكتورة البورسلين فينير هو يعني كديفينيشن هم حاطينه انه اي شيء بيجي above الفريم ورك يعني لنفرض انه بالزيركون مش فترة اقترحوا انه نعمل بري فابريكيتد فينير لإله بعدين بنعمل لهم سيمنتيشن على الكور يعني هذا يعتبر كمان بورسلين فينير حتى لو انه مش باودر سيستم ولكن يعني انا حطيت الموست كومون يعني او
اوكي ما في مشكلة. بس just to make it sure انه so it's layered porcelain that is bonded to a framework. So it's not only the powder liquid system. The confusion came from the image. Just put multiple images for different systems, okay? Where porcelain is veneered over a framework. It could be over a metal, for example, porcelain fused to metal. It could be over zirconia.
Yes.
Okay. It could be
Emax.
Emax. Yeah, anything that is layered, okay? Type. In porcelain laminate veneers, you talked about their indications. I loved their indication. You talked about their strength. I loved where you talked about their strength in terms of bonding to enamel. I wish that I've seen how to verify there is enamel. Okay, how to verify there is enamel. So bonding to enamel is essential. Okay, if you can add just like a quick flash slide talking about how to identify enamel presence. Okay. So you
how
know
to identify
the presence of enamel, methods to verify, because the veneers, one of the most important thing about them, they are all in enamel, so they should be bounded to it, especially on the margins.
قصدك دكتورة زي انه ما نعطي انستيزيا زي انه نعمل بريب through the mock-up.
How to verify? No. How do you verify there is enamel present? One of the methods, for example, you acid etch and you dry it. You'll see the enamel very clearly. So you should have an enamel margin all around the edges of the porcelain laminate veneer. There is some leeway for some porcelain, some dentin in the middle, for example, or on the sides, or the composites. You can bind to composites. But the idea with veneers, it should be all bounded in enamel. All margins should be enamel. Just a quick, there's a classification on how much dentine versus enamel is exposed to the veneer. So if you can find that reference, it would be beautiful. It's just like a quick thing. Okay. Okay, so you talked about the longevity. Okay, here about the augmented reality. Okay, I love the augmented reality issue. One comment here. Does the augmented reality take occlusal and proximal views?
لا هما الفرونتال الدكتور اللي كان موجود بالريبورت اللي حاطينها الفرونتال. Yes.
Actually, then please write down that this is a frontal view only. The report had a frontal view only. So I'm interested, for example, in this. Does it take other images? I'm not sure, but write down in this report, it was all frontal views, okay? Okay, frontal view. See, here we have an occlusal view, for example. Just recheck it, okay? Dental bleaching. When you talked about the dental bleaching, you talked about how they work and definition. Okay. You talked about different material. Okay, I love this where you put the material side by side so we could see the contrast very clearly and how do they work and how are they activated. I love this slide. I think there are more material than this. Just check it. The breakdown of carbamide into peroxide was beautiful and the results were beautiful. You talked about in-office bleaching and at-home bleaching. Okay, fewer reported side effects, and here you need to talk about the side effects a little bit. Okay, the work with the activation of bleaching agents. These are that are activated either by light or by chemicals or by LED. Here you place the products as well once more, but I would love to see some products, some actual products and their logos. For example, halogen, you will have multiple products using halogen, multiple products using LED, multiple products using the plasma arc. So it's beautiful to place, for example of these devices or these companies marketing these. Once more, the name of the method, the company's website logo, and the logo of the material or the device or the tool you're using. Okay, so make that always in all of your slides. The protocol at home, you haven't talked a lot about the protocol at home. The protocol at home, you should just add a little bit about its patient compliance. You need patient compliance here. Here, for example, you need protection of the gums and the eye, the vision, okay? So if you don't want to add them here, I will ask you, the colleague who is doing the dental tools, the new advanced dental tools, to add this. Talk about the Googles of their instruments. Talk about different retractor systems. So you talk about in tools, those who are speaking about the tools, please talk about the different Googles that you're going to use to prevent from whenever you're using light cure, whenever you're using laser, when you're using any type of radiation, you have the patient should have a protection for their eyes. Okay, the retraction systems that are used for imaging, there are a lot of beautiful new tools for retraction, and what does each one do? The material, those who's going to talk about materials, please, you're going to be talking about different types of gingival retraction or gingival protection or gingival rubber dams, okay? So all of these are new material that are used. So if you, they will be better placed in those seminars, but a good work when in terms of comparison. Effectiveness of light activation. Okay, going back to the protocols. Okay, in terms of laser and diode activation, when you talked about activation by radiation or light or whatever, there are some important things. You talked about sensitivity, but you also, when you were explaining, you talked about something that it's enamel dehydration and enamel cracking possibly.
لا بالنكست سلايد دكتورة next slide.
In the next slide. I don't remember where, but the idea. Okay, I would like you to state which material produces these complications, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so don't keep it like broad. Some of them do this. I would like you to specify which ones did they study and produce these effects, okay? To make sure that the dentist follows the instructions beautifully, okay? When you talked about the buttocks, injectable aesthetic material, it was very interesting. It's part of the trend today, but we're not looking in the prosthodontics as a specialty. It's not only aesthetics we're looking at. We're also looking at rehabilitating patients with problems, with trauma, with asymmetries, congenital problems, after car traffic accidents. So fillers and Botox come not only for aesthetics, they also come for rehabilitation. After burns, after accidents, after surgeries, after because of congenital diseases where they will have discrepancies in their face or their lips or so on. And this was a beautiful thing where you might have talked about. Also for the buttocks, you have neuromuscular disorders. You talked about neuromuscular disorders. You talked about migraine, but you haven't talked about fibromyalgia, for example. Okay. patients with fibromyalgia. For the fillers or even the Botox, it's also one of its applications where we have gummy smiles and high lip activity. Okay. So all of these, you haven't included them. So try to put one slide for these more non-aesthetic related applications. For the Botox, once more, fibromyalgia, migraine, muscle disorders, spasms in muscles, gummy smiles to alter the lip position. And in the fillers, talk about cases where we have asymmetry because of trauma, congenital disease, rehabilitation about after surgeries, resection surgeries. All of these will be a beautiful place for to add these applications for. Okay, so it's not only aesthetics. When you talked about hyaluronic acid, you talked that it was not permanent. When you went to the gingival culture in the slide, or the study was using hyaluronic acid. Okay. So the idea of using this and their follow-up time was only 6 months. So it was the 6 months you talked that hyaluronic acid works with. So you could just add a note here. Hyaluronic acid is a non-permanent filler anyways. Okay, a dermal filler. So just add this comment here because you don't want a study to highlight something positive while it was a temporary, only temporary. Okay. Here for the interdental papilla, I would like you to go to, I'll go here to the screen here. Okay, it was beautiful to highlight, or just one slide to highlight that these are the classifications of interdental papilla reduction. Okay, these are the classifications of interdental papilla. Okay. And you also have a classification of the contact points, so relevant to the contact points. So the idea here also just put a note highlighting which classification of interdental papilla did they use, and what was the distance from the contact point between the bone and the study. So if I was the one reviewing the study, I would ask the authors to highlight this. Okay. So
دكتور هم شلون بالتيبل المفروض يعني موجودين.
Okay, but was this an X-ray or was it at baseline?
This is at baseline.
I mean, a frontal view, just measuring from the contact to the baseline of the.
Using الميجرنج stent اللي ذكرناه بالسلايد اللي قبل
Yes,
دكتور.
so it's only external, not internal, using X-rays. The distance between the contact and the bone.
Yes.
Okay. There are multiple variables. There are a huge amount of variables controlling the presence of interdental papilla. You have the horizontal variables, the distance between teeth. You have vertical variables, distance between bone and let's go sideward that. Okay. You have the variables where you have the distance between the teeth, okay, in terms of the segmentum enamel junction. So teeth that are closer will not produce a good interdental gingiva. The vertical numbers or the classification in terms of the contact to the bone. And you have the external looking just at front. So just please just add the note that this was not taken by X-ray and the cement enamel junction distance, horizontal distance between these two teeth was not measured. Okay, just a note because these are limitations for such a study. Okay, shade matching. We talked about shade matching. I love the work with shade matching. You presented it very well. Okay. And how you worked with it was very beautiful. Okay, you talked about the instrumental, you talked about the visual abilities. Here you haven't placed some of the requirements for visual shade matching. Terms, you remember them. For example, these are multiple. Once I counted them, they are up to 16 in terms of which gender sees better. The females, what age sees better? Around 18 to 22. If you remember these numbers. What light do we use for shade matching? Okay, early morning light. What is the best digital lighting system? Or sorry, the artificial lighting system for shade matching. How do I put, I wet the tooth? These conditions for shade matching, it's beautiful if you add a slide for those. and state if these conditions also apply to the instrumental or not, because this is a big issue in terms of choosing the shade matching technique. If this will take the shade without going through all of those conditions, it's even better for me. And this is not true. There are some needs for us to keep some of these conditions. So it's good to add that in the comparison. It's a beautiful comparison. Just add the clinical conditions for each one of them. Okay. If you want to make them on a separate slide, it would be even better. Here, once more, you have products. Once more, color meters, spectrophotometers, digital photo. Give examples and give the logo. When you talked about the light system, now digital camera, it's because this is a capture system. Okay, it's in RGB, but there are different color systems other than the RGB. The RGB, red, green, and blue. However, if we see here, if I go here, okay, this is a website that I shared with you showing you different color systems, okay? Some of the color systems are used because you're capturing color. You want to see color. So the RGB is a capture system. The CMYK, it's another system, okay? This is a CMYK. This is for printing, if you're going to print at a color. The other system is the Pantone, is the basic colors. If these are the models, we also use in printing as well, okay? Or in painting or in paints, in textiles work. The RGB is for web and screen and capture in cameras. So this is the RGB. The RAL system talks about also the how much the material is matte or not matte or shiny and so on. So it's also talking about production. So this is a production for production. It tells you this material at the end, is it matte, glossy, or metallic surfaces, okay? So these are different systems. You don't know the one looking at the system. Is does he know other types of color systems? And then you have the Scilab, where you're talking about dental applications. So all of these are important in this slide where you are stating the color system. So talk about other systems, and then choose what is used for digital camera and what is used in the spectrophotometers. So spectrophotometers use a different color system than the digital camera. So add them first, and I would love to have seen the globe of the colors in the LAB system present here as well. So before the slide, add what are the color systems first, and then go into each one. This uses, for example, digital camera will use the RGB system. If we're talking about the spectrophotometer, it will be using the LAB system, and so on. Okay, the colorimeter you also use.
دكتورة تعرفي شو الفكرة؟ إنه أنا لو بدي أدخل بعالم الكلر راح أدخل كثير تفاصيل بيزك يعني.
No, just one slide, as I told you. No, it's just one slide, as I told you. Just give a quick indication, what are the color systems and what are they used for? This is for printing, this is for screens, this is for so and so. So when the person sees all of this, he would not be confused because he will always see different names for colors.
Yes. Okay.
So just for example, if he was choosing a camera, he will see a different color system. If he goes to dental research, he will see a different color system, and so on. So he'll not understand what are the differences between them. So just a quick slide, put all of the color systems present in the website I told you, add for it the LAB system, and then go, the photography uses this system, the colorimeter uses this system, and so on, okay? Just to cover them. And then, okay, just add the generations. You said about the Vita Easy Shade that has generations. Just add these 5 generations in a slide. And that's it for now. And I'll be coming back to you in another presentation.